Yo. 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 How's it going? Howdy doody. I'm not supposed to be here. It's the middle of the day. It's so the middle of the day I'm still wearing sunglasses. You look like Johnny Depp playing Hunter S. Thompson. I'm on the same amount of drugs too. Rose-colored glasses. Hello, love bun. How are you? I barely was able to read your thing because it came up. I'm getting the like, oh yeah, reality just completely disappears when I wear these glasses. Reality, the person, not the thing. Reality disappears when I'm on the same amount of drugs as Hunter S. Thompson was, or Johnny Depp was when he was method acting. Hunter S. Thompson. Like Lobo, the main man. Did Lobo have some glasses? Are you talking about, was that Marvel? Was that the Morbius guy? Sean, what's going on? Raz, welcome in. How are y'all? Is right. Is what we're doing today. DC? DC, okay. For some reason, I thought like the art style made me think it was like a Morbius thing or a Ghost Rider thing. It's wonderful. Cool. Yeah, it's starting to feel like spring. The dog is here. Hello, dog. You're so impatient. It's another biker. That's what I think that's probably what I was thinking about. Isn't he like a clown or something too? Or there's some clowns involved in that? I don't really know that story. Oh my gosh, why are you pushing on me? So yeah, we're gonna get back into talking about Duskbloods for a second because I'm not like a react content sort of guy, but if there's gonna be something I'm gonna react to, it's like the biggest news about my favorite game that's dropped in like forever. So that's why we're here. It dropped earlier. There's a whole interview with Miyazaki, so we're gonna read through that and just like look at this stuff. Just look at it. Hopefully that's cool with y'all. Looks like some of y'all were available, so that's cool. You like that with Silent Hill? Is that your favorite? Cool. Yeah, and we got Tom Hiddleston with the Rockstar leather pants. Oh yeah, by the way, chat was probably covering it, but that's a fucking double jump. That was one of the revelations. Double jump is a method of traversal now. Spoiler, we're getting already into the interview. By the way, I have some of the interview already, okay? So I can't be blamed, all right? I was excited. But double jump is now a thing. I don't know if you get that later, if it's a Castlevania situation where you got to get the, gravity boots or whatever you have to get in Castlevania. But I mean, that's pretty cool. I grew up with Castlevania, and once you get the double jump, it's like, oh my god, it feels so good. You can just traverse the castle, like, in a way that you were blocked off from before. And all the backtracking and stuff, you find all these cool little areas and stuff, because now you can double jump. So I wonder if they're going to do that with this, but I have no clue. Anyways, let's get into it. So, this is the Creator's Voice blog interview with Hidetaka Miyazaki on Duskbloods. Like I said, I've read some of this already, so I'm going to read through it again because I know some people don't like to read. Excuse you, bless you. Dog is sneezing. It must be spring. Okay, you can come up one more time, but I swear to God, we're getting into this. Hop up. Oh my God, Jesus, dude. You're crazy. You're psychotic. You're psychotic. The influence? What influence? The one you're under? Alright, you gotta give me high five for the next one. Okay, cool. That's enough. Alright, go lay down. Go relax. Cool. Good job, buddy. Creator's Voice blog. Hidetaka Miyazaki on The Duskbloods Part 1. Get the inside scoop on The Duskbloods in this interview with director Hidetaka Miyazaki of From Software. And there's some other stuff that we'll check out in a minute. Part 1, Blood by Dusk. When? By dusk. I need the blood by dusk, or there will be hell to pay. Also, the Blood by Dusk sounds like a fragrance, like Pond Water by L'Oreal. Blood by Dusk. Can you please give us a quick self-introduction? He doesn't need an introduction. He's Hidetaka Miyazaki. He's the GOAT. My name is Hidetaka Miyazaki. I work at From Software, and I am the director of The Duskbloods. I like how they have to clarify this. they have like the asterisk. From Software Inc., a game development publishing company. They have developed games such as Elden Ring TM, and have released Dark Souls TM remastered on Nintendo Switch. I like how there's no mention of any other games. It's only the ones that you can buy. They're like, hey, by the way, you can buy these right now. You should probably buy the ones that we have on our system. These are the other ones that he's done. While you're waiting for this game, you should probably buy the ones that are already on our system. by Bloodborne. We're going to give you Bloodborne. Just wait. You gotta wait a year. See what's going on. Welcome in. His hands? What about his hands? Well, I guess what are they, kind of big? Like, are his hands pretty big proportionally? I can't tell because I have kind of bigger hands, so that just looks normal to me. First off, please tell us what led to this title being developed for Nintendo Switch 2. A while back, we had the opportunity to meet with Nintendo to discuss ideas, and during this discussion, we presented a rough outline for the Duskbloods. Does anybody feel like the Duskbloods sounds like a sitcom family or something, like the Munsters or something? It's just like all of them just like on the cover, like the merry gang of the Duskbloods. It was still a very bare bones. It was still very bare bones at the time. More a loose string of ideas than proper presentation. The concept itself was different from anything we had done before. Sure. And Nintendo seemed very interested in helping make it a reality. So that's when the project... I gotta take these fucking glasses off. So that's when the project kicked off. At first, it was being worked on by a small team as a title for Nintendo Switch. However, just as the game started to take shape, we were approached by Nintendo with the talk of Switch 2, which led us to revamp our development path with this new hardware in mind. The new hardware's focus on online features allowed us to stay true to the original vision as possible, which was very good news for us. The way you flex your hand size, they look normal. Yeah, it was kind of a little bit of a humble brag, but no, I've had somebody tell me I have big hands before, so I don't know what's normal. Are people just walking around with tiny little puny hands out here? I don't know. Duskblood sounds like a group of kids in Hogwarts. Yeah, it does. It does kind of sound like that, huh? And it does sound kind of Western, too. I think the font really, I brought up the From Dusk Till Dawn cover because it feels very similar. It's got, like, a Western thing, which we'll get into in a minute. There's part of his explanation of what this is. There's a lot of things that suddenly made more sense to me, because I'm like, what the fuck is going on? It's such, like, a clusterfuck of weird shit. Double jump. Oh my god. I can't believe I missed that before. I'm fucking excited about that. It was one thing to have like Elden Ring and you're like, oh, I can actually jump for real? Do you know how weird it is to get used to jumping in like Dark Souls 3 or Bloodborne? Where it's like attached to the run button? That was one of the weirdest things for me to get used to. And now they probably just are just raw dogging it with that X button. You just hit it twice like, I don't know, any other fucking game. They finally were like, okay, we'll do that. We'll give you that. See this? See, it looks like the From Dusk Till Dawn thing. I'm glad you're talking about this. I want to know your opinion after the announcement. We are opining right now because, yeah, this is huge to me. There's some people that are like, now they heard, oh, it's multiplayer. I'm going to reserve judgment until things happen. I don't know what the fascination is nowadays with, hey, this thing hasn't even come out yet. I haven't even played it. I'm already going to start talking shit. Relax. Calm down. You don't know what it's going to be like until you play it. And then you can be disappointed. Stop being disappointed in advance. We know why you're doing it. You're doing it because then you have some agency. You're tired of people disappointing you and hurting you. So in order to have any sort of semblance of control in your life, you take it upon yourself to hurt yourself first so that you can't be disappointed by other people hurting you. We see right through you, okay? Just wait a year. Play the game then. Stop projecting your personal trauma onto other people, like I'm doing right now. Sounds like the game differs from most of your previous titles. Can you give us a little more detail as to what type of game it is? It says, in terms of structure, we consider it a PvPvE title. And as they explain, that's an acronym referring to the style of fighting where, in addition to players fighting each other, players also fight enemies. CPUs, as they're called, that appear in the game. At its core, it's an online multiplayer-focused game with both player versus player and player versus enemy gameplay. Which, by the way, it sounds like it's not like you. It sounds like you can play it solo. Which, knowing their community, I don't know why they would make a game where you couldn't do that. There's so many diehard From Software sweats who like to do all these crazy challenge runs and. No summoning, no friends, no life, no grass to touch. The S in the font is like the Infinity S from the 90s. Oh, the Stussy? I always called it the Stussy. The thing where you draw the 3 lines and then the 3 lines and then you connect them at the top. The Infinity S? I guess it is kind of an Infinity S. We called it the Stussy where I was at. As in, what that Stussy do? Yeah, there's usually a campaign. It would seem weird if there wasn't. Yeah, I'm trying not to make judgments about something too much before I experience the thing. Like, even Night Rain, I don't want to talk too much crap on Night Rain, even though I'm not as excited about that. Because I just don't know. I could have a lot of fun playing that. We'll see. Did you always have some desire to make a PvPvE type game? Yes, I've always found the PvPvE structure very interesting. It allows for a broad range of game design ideas, while also letting us leverage our experience of designing challenging enemy encounters. As a side note, please allow me to address one thing. As previously mentioned, this is an online multiplayer title at its core, but this doesn't mean that we as a company have decided to shift to a more multiplayer-focused direction with titles going forward. So, see, exactly. Like, they have a specific vision for this game. It was there before Nintendo came along. Everybody relax. It's probably going to be fine. And then they're probably going to have something that's more focused on just like the solo experience later. So, I don't know. And again, I'm saying this as like Bloodborne's my favorite game. If this is a spiritual successor, like, sure, I want it to be more of the same thing in like a lot of ways, but it's their vision. I fell in love with their vision before. I'll trust that they can take the reins of their own creative idea and make something cool, you know? Nintendo Switch 2 version of Elden Ring was also announced, and we still intend to actively develop single-player focused games such as this that embrace our more traditional style, which I don't know how much they're going to be doing with that. Nintendo Switch 2 software planned for release in 2025. Elden Ring is a fantasy action RPG set in a massive open world where you develop your character according to your playstyle. Yeah, we already knew that, so I guess it's not even probably going to be a remaster, because they're just going to be optimized for the system better. It's going to play like it already plays on PC or something. Which that's been one of the main comments I've been hearing about people getting hyped about this thing, and the detractors are like, oh, it's running on a garbage system, essentially, because they're upset with how the Switch 1 ran and how many frames per second that gets. I don't know any of the technical specifications. All I know is I had a good time playing Mario Kart and Super Smash Bros. With my friends online there and in person. It's a good time. Like, maybe it's not the best thing ever. I don't know, but I'm not going to sweat that sort of stuff. Please tell us about the game's characters and setting. Okay, so here's the part I was interested in. The story stuff. The game's protagonists or characters or characters controlled by the player are known as the Bloodsworn, the Duskbloods. The Bloodsworn. It even rhymes with Bloodborne, okay? The Bloodsworn are a group whose members have achieved superhuman abilities through the power of special blood. Like a holy medium? Bloodsworn? Yeah, with an E at the end. Bloodswole? They got swole AF from the special blood from the Thumerians. As a general concept, they're similar to vampires, but they are not portrayed as the horrifying monsters you might associate with traditional vampirism. Do you even blood, bro? Exactly. We tried to extract the sort of romantic aspects we found interesting from concepts such as vampires and blood, and reinterpreted them as the Bloodsworn. There's Tom Hiddleston again, there, showing his leather-clad butt cheeks for the ladies. In the Duskbloods, the Bloodsworn are competing for something known as First Blood. As human society reaches an end, First Blood flows in an event known as the Twilight of Humanity. The Bloodsworn are summoned to the Twilight of Humanity across a variety of different times and places in a bid to obtain First Blood. Due to this, there is no fixed era or location in which the Duskbloods takes place, which is why we have all this wacky shit going on, like this guy. That's why we have a Victorian thing here, and little Rocket Man. What was that? Wasn't that was the first Trump presidency? Was Kim Jong-un was little Rocket Man? This Kim Jong-un, they just made him a playable character. Due to this, there's no fixed era or location in which the Duskbloods takes place. There are more traditional Gothic or Victorian-style maps, as well as those depicting the closing years of the early modern period, like the one glimpsed in the trailer with the train running through it. That looks so Liza P for me. this whole thing. But it looks so cool. Honestly, I'm just like, that's fucking rad. These like weird carriages and train station. It's like the Krot Central Station. Again, with this, it's like I have to think he must have at least taken a gander at it, Liza P, and just like gave it at least the once over. Like, people are saying this is the best one that we didn't make. Why do they like it? Watch him be like a secret fan. He's just like playing it every night. Like, this is awesome. Can you let us know the meaning behind the title, The Duskbloods? The Duskbloods directly refers to the Bloodsworn themselves. As mentioned earlier, the Bloodsworn are summoned to the twilight of humanity in a battle for first blood. Duskbloods is a collective term for those characters controlled by the player. So like the Tarnished, or the Hunter, or what is it in Dark Souls? Chosen Undead? Isn't that what it is? Anyways, sounds like blood plays a pretty big role in the game. I don't know why that sounds funny to me. Sounds like blood plays a pretty big role in the game. Yes, in the context of this game, blood is used more conceptually, as opposed to literal meanings like physical depictions of injury. Blood symbolizes one of the game's key themes, the history it holds, the power it passes on, the fates it weaves, and the marker of those who have surpassed the limitations of their own humanity. Read more in Part 2, Superhuman Abilities and Opportunistic Behavior. So awkward? What's wrong with his hands, Raz? You're hyper-focusing on the hands. What's wrong with his hands, man? He's just stimming right now. He's just doing one of these. Like, he's just feeling it out. He's getting into the creative juju. Next time I catch you stimming, watching you. Good for him. We love a girl bossing stimmer, okay? We accept stimming in all of its various shapes and forms, except for the pen clicking kind. You get right the fuck out of here with that. Stop it, it's annoying. Creator's Voice blog, Hidetaka Miyazaki on the Duskbloods Part 2. What is this? Superhuman Abilities and Opportunistic Behavior. What are some of the characteristics of the Bloodsworn? There are several reasons we put the player's focus on the Bloodsworn, with one of those being character actions. The Bloodsworn possess superhuman abilities thanks to special blood, so their actions are more dramatic than anything seen in our previous titles. Even more than the Hunter? Even basic character actions in this game, such as sprinting, super jump, and double jump, are designed to be dynamic and stress-free, and are complemented by each character's own unique weapons and abilities, allowing for a wide range of creativity. Cool. Which they describe later some like classes, and I think there's like over a dozen, I think was the word that he used. But it almost made it sound like it was more of a Sekiro situation with the way he described the characters. Like, you're not really modifying them, but then it sounded like maybe you can change, costuming and who knows what else. I don't know how like locked in the stats are, or if you can level individual things or what. So the jump button is now mapped to the Z button on our N64 controller. Yeah, that would be weird. It'd be just about as weird as what they had before Elden Ring, which was run and then hit it again while you're running. It was so goofy figuring that out for the first time. I'm like, really? That's what we got? Okay, all right. Feels weird. Also, I love this wordage of designed to be dynamic and stress-free. Stress-free? A Souls title? A title made by this man, and he's saying stress-free. Okay, Miyazaki, I see you. Also, and while this isn't directly related to the Bloodsworn themselves, the setting allows for depiction of firearms and such, and every character is equipped with some means of attacking from a distance. I feel this is one of the game's unique aspects when compared with our previous titles. I hope these new action elements are one area that players will enjoy. So that's cool. We got range. I'm guessing that means not just guns, but it could mean like bows or magic projectiles or whatever. But yeah, I was wondering about this. Like, there's like an AK-47 on his back. I was like, wait, is that an AK? What is that? Because there's a whole bunch of mishmash of stuff. It's a different style of stress. We're peasant stressed. He's rich stressed. Yeah. Do you think that's what he does when he starts crafting a game? He's like, how can we make the poor suffer today? And the best part is they will line up for it. Okay, so we got range stuff. We got double jumps like he just did. Very cool. That's already an emote. Of course it is. They couldn't get away with doing the bottom half for Twitch. That would be against terms of service, I think. They're going to have to blur that part out when streamers play the game on Twitch. The froobs are distracting. I didn't need that vocabulary today. The Froobs? It's mine. Made it last night. Very, very cool, man. GG. Okay, so earlier you've referred to protagonists or characters as plural. Does this mean the player will be able to choose from multiple different characters? There are over a dozen characters for the player to choose from, each with their own identity and appearance. I think there are a lot of unique elements to the character designs and the weapons they use, so hopefully players can find one or two favorites among them. Also, each character can be customized to a certain extent, allowing players the fun of building a character that feels like their own. And there's the Froobs for you, Raz. Yeah, there's just a lot going on with this. Can you provide some more detail on the general gameplay loop? The game has a so-called hub area, the Hunter's Dream, where players can choose their character, customize them, or enter online multiplayer. Online multiplayer supports up to 8 players. Upon concluding an online match, players then return to the hub, at which point they receive some sort of reward whether they win or lose. Do you think you get a lump of coal in your stocking if you lose? They give you shining coins and pebbles if you lose. They give you what's an Elden Ring equivalent of like a shit item. I'm trying to think of that off the top of my head, because you know he's gonna troll you with some shit. Because when you need blood vials in Bloodborne, which you absolutely have to farm for at some point, inevitably. Not if you're good at the game. Sounds like you just need to get good. Shut up. Eventually you have to farm for blood vials, and you kill the brick trolls, and then like the moment that you really need them, they're like, oh, I think we'll drop shining coins now. A fucking useless item. That's when they decide to drop that, when you most need the other thing that they drop. The other currency that is just completely the most valuable thing. One of the most valuable things. Skill issue Tim, a subsidiary of Get Good Inc. Yeah. Oh, TM. Yeah. You know what's funny is I saw you paste that the other day, but then I had written out a thing that I was going to paste in Wingnut's chat if he was doing bad with the actual, HTML, TM and stuff. But then he was doing good, so then I couldn't paste it. So I was like, all right, cool. He finally got good. Okay. I couldn't paste it. I'll wait for another time. Okay, so using these rewards, players can further customize their character, and so the cycle continues. Online matches are generally last player standing. However, there are certain cases where victory conditions differ. For example, players may be tasked with teaming up to take down a powerful boss enemy, or find themselves in other special circumstances. I like the thought of that too, because if there is like a lot of PvP happening, like I don't know how they set this up, but wouldn't that be fucking weird if you're like fighting other people and then something way worse like bursts out of the fucking floor or whatever, and you're like, oh shit, a frog with tits, it's gonna eat all of us, we should maybe stop fighting each other and take this thing down, then we can go back to fighting each other. I don't know if it's like that, but that's what my mind was fantasizing. Like, we have to kill the frog with tits, then we can go back to the battle royale shit that we were doing in the anime, jumping through the air, double jump, guns blazing, doing a backflip and hitting you with the katana and stuff. I mean, that's their whole thing. They make these like super anime, but without the anime aesthetic, like drawing style. But it's anime in every sense of the word. The frog with tits is going to come out of the ground. They go, Nani? That's they got to have that at some point in the game. So victory conditions are influenced not just by PvP results, but also player versus environment results as well. That's right, some victory conditions center around defeating a boss enemy. PvP, an acronym for the style of game where players fight other players. Like how they have to define these things. PvE, an acronym for the style of game where players fight enemies, CPUs. I can't think of many examples with that rule set. It sounds very interesting. I'm happy to hear you say that. Regardless of whether it's PvP or PvE, the idea is to provide players with an experience that allows them to learn and hone their skills as they play. We've therefore designed the PvE boss encounters to present a tough challenge and a sense of accomplishment upon defeating them, so players can enjoy improving their own skills over time as they battle. Yes, although there are a variety of elements in place that keep the game from becoming too stoic. For example, how players conduct themselves during the match is just as important as direct combat. The Duskbloods implements victory points, which are responsible for ultimately deciding the outcome of the match. To obtain victory points, direct combat is of course important, but it's not the only way. Some players may prefer to earn points by avoiding direct combat and instead engaging in more opportunistic behavior. How you earn points is entirely up to you. Additionally, each character can summon an entity to assist in combat. A summon for casuals. Forget good scrubs, said the elitist. No, but I would assume they would have that still. That's been in everything. And there will be the elitists that will talk an endless amount of shit on anybody summoning. It's a tale as old as time. Let's see. Wait, okay, we summon an entity to assist in combat, giving players a high degree of freedom when it comes to how they fight and win. Yeah, I mean, at least they kind of explained all of the, mishmash of things. I've always thought that was interesting, like, some of the katanas and stuff, especially in Bloodborne, where everything is really aesthetically, I feel like, is really focused. And I suppose it wouldn't be like impossible for there to be, katanas, especially it's like a fantasy place. It's not like an actual real place in the world, but it's interesting that seems to be a common thread throughout. Turns out the rat with wings is literally a rat with wings, so it's not a bat. It's a rat with wings. Okay, cool. Ratbird. Ratbird? It's not a bat, it's a brat? Yeah, I guess so, huh? It's a brat. Okay. Another important aspect is match variables, such as the event system. The system has potential to alter the course of the match, such as special enemy spawns and additional objectives with accompanying bonus rewards. In the trailer, you may have noticed a giant stone face looming in the sky. This is one example of the events that can occur in a match. This guy. In this case, the appearance of this stone face affects the environment and changes match rewards, which can have an immediate impact on player motivations and objectives. These events don't happen all the time, and I hope discovering them gives players some incentive to keep coming back. So yeah, I'm sure there's like a lot of them programmed, and certain ones have like certain drop rates, almost like, or I don't know what they would call it for like an event happening, but like drop rates for items where there's like a super rare item in the game that you have to farm this one enemy, and he has like a 0.02% drop rate of this fucking item, and you just sit there farming for hours and never get it. I'm sure there's stuff like that, Yeah, they literally put the moon. Everybody look at the moon. I was thinking that when I watched the trailer at first, I'm like, is that the moon? Like the mighty Boosh moon? It sounds like even those who tend to shy away from PvP can still enjoy themselves. That was the intention. I personally am not much of a PvP person, and I wanted to make something that's satisfying even for players like me. While the goal of a match is to obtain first blood, there are personal objectives that provide separate rewards to the player as well, so I hope these add to the fun of each engagement. Alright, we got the last part here, part 3. Playing roles and altering fates. What other ways might players enjoy the game outside of combat? One thing I love doing in any game I direct is leaving fragments of lore and world-building details, allowing the player the fun of using their imagination to make connections. The Duskbloods is no exception to this. However, we've gone about it a little differently from previous titles. The fragments this time are found in the previously mentioned character customization items. They're blood, history, and fate. So I'm guessing those are like starting classes like Waste of Skin or Noble Scion or Military Veteran in Bloodborne. Customizing a character will reveal a piece of information regarding the world and its unfolding story. So, I mean, some of this sounds like it's being presented in a new and different way, but it's essentially the same thing. Kind of like calling Blood Echoes runes in Elden Ring, or it's just like or a healing, Estus flask or a blood vial. Like they're all mechanically the same thing, or they serve the same function, and they have different variables about them, but they're all like the same thing. This idea of like blood, history, and fate, it just sounds like whatever your starting class, and there's going to be the bonk builds, and there's gonna be the magic spammers, and there's gonna be the dex nerds. It's always gonna, I would be surprised if they deviate too much from that, you know? You customize their blood history and fate, question mark? Yes. Analyzing and altering a character's blood history and fate allows players to customize all sorts of things, from their abilities, appearance, and inner characteristics to the role they play in the world and relationships with other characters. I really do hope that they have like the same sort of character creation screen like they've had in previous games, but you know, I feel like they did really make it that much better with Elden Ring. And if you can, it'd be really cool if you could do the mirror thing like you can do in Elden Ring. If you're like, hey, I'm kind of tired of how I look right now, I would like to transition. Can I, my body does not match how I feel on the inside. Can we switch this? That would be cool if they had the transitioning mirror, because I thought that was a super neat feature of Elden Ring. Also respecking, what was I going to say? Brand name and then off-brand. They are deviating. It's like Night Rain where they give you over a dozen hero to choose from. Yeah, I mean, I'm just curious because I haven't played any like the demos for Night Rain, so I don't even know. You know, we don't know yet. There's so little that we know about this game. We don't even know if it's going to be exactly like the formula they've been doing for Night Rain. I do feel like they are kind of branching out and trying some shit. They're throwing stuff at the canvas and seeing what sticks. And you know what? I applaud people for trying stuff, even if it's not, you know, exactly 100% the thing I want. I'd rather them try and make something new and feel like they're actually fulfilling like their artistic purpose, so that they can get to the eventual, inevitable next creative milestone that nobody saw coming because they took that time to experiment and refine and try things out. They've had enough of a winning streak for a long time. I feel like they can afford to do a little bit of playing around with the formula. I think Night Rain was sort of a test for this. Probably. I mean, if they're working with mostly like all the Elden Ring assets, it's way easier to build upon what's already there than to make something from the ground up. And then as they're developing this, they can develop all this, you know, I don't know if you call them character sprites and the or model, whatever. They could develop all that artistic stuff and then refine all of the implementation part later if they figure out, you know, as they're working on Night Rain. They're like, oh, this works. Okay, so yeah, maybe we'll do that in this one. So I believe it. I totally believe that. Okay, so you customize their blood history and fate, question mark. Yes, analyzing and altering a character's blood history and fate allows players to customize all sorts of things, from their abilities, appearance, and inner characteristics to the role they play in the world and relationships with other characters. Focusing these elements on the concept of blood or blood history and fate allowed for a deeper exploration of customization, and is another reason we placed the Bloodsworn as the protagonists. Do you mind, Raz? Do you like what he's doing with his hands this time? I feel like this is pretty normal hand behavior now. Is this working? Are you okay with this one? Please let me know. Do you mind sharing any other points you personally find interesting? One area I haven't talked about yet is roles. In online play, roles gives players special responsibilities and objectives that often lead to unique interactions and relationships between players based on their corresponding roles. That's probably not much info to go on, so allow me to provide a few examples. But please note, we're still finalizing some of the naming and details. For example, if a player possesses the Destined Rivals role, another player is destined as their rival, and they are tasked with finding and defeating that player. I think that's pretty cool, like a nemesis sort of thing, but it's actually somebody out there in the world. Doing so counts as achieving a personal goal separate from the overall victory conditions. More bonus points for killing that fucking bastard Kyle. Hate that guy. My destined rival. I don't know why I'm Cartman in this situation, but that's what we're going with. Another example is Destined Companion, where one player is required to seek out another designated as their companion, which results in a special reward if they form a bond with one another. What if they get married IRL? Do you get extra points for that, Miyazaki? Do you get a katana shipped to your house with the Duskbloods logo engraved on it if you get married to your Duskbloods Dusk Buddy? What happens then? Can we get the government involved with this? Can we mock up a contract for our Duskblood Dusk Buddy? You get a dusk job? Some sloppy dusky, some rusky dusky. Roles can be assigned to any character via blood customization, allowing players to enjoy role-playing in a literal sense and hopefully adding to the drama of these engagements. Kind of like how players can pick their roles as tabletop RPG? Exactly. While not entirely intentional, it may reflect my own interests a bit. It might seem a little unorthodox at first, but I hope players will give it a try. So wait, I didn't quite follow this. Hold on. Roles can be assigned to any character via blood customization, allowing players to enjoy role-playing in a literal sense, and hopefully adding to the drama of these engagements. It's interesting. That definitely is more focused on the multiplayer aspect, but it is an interesting mechanic. Why does he have a little tongue that's coming out like a lizard? The little rocket man. Yeah, it does. I would feel like that would make the PvP that much more dramatic. And you know what that feels? Again, that feels like a super anime thing. Like I'm thinking of Attack on Titan. I'm not going to do spoilers, but like there's scenes in that where there's a bunch of stuff going on with either other people or Titans, and then there's like two main characters, or a main character and some baddie are like having a real fight that's way more intense than whatever child's play everybody else is doing. Those of you who've seen Attack on Titan or all the way through probably know what I'm talking about, but yeah, that seems super anime to me. Like, oh, okay, this motherfucker, I gotta get this guy. Role-playing games played with things like dice and player with players. Wait, this is worded really funny. So they define tabletop RPG. Role-playing games played with things like dice and player. With players, things like dice and player. They don't mean a human then. They mean, I'm confused. Why did they word it like that? Played with things like dice and player, with players interacting with each other while following rules described in a rulebook. I feel like, is Nintendo describing this in a way that, for somebody who's literally just spawned into the world? Like, I feel like they're going to start teaching me the ABCs at some point too. Some of these seem like really, really self-explanatory. That reminds me, I was curious about the winged rat character seen in the trailer. Can you provide some details as to what role this character serves? Being cute AF, being our #1 plushie seller. That character shares a similar role with the Firekeepers from the Dark Souls series. Okay. They remain in the hub area, providing the player with advice and guidance. Oh, so that I still haven't played Dark Souls 2, but that makes me think that they heard enough about people talking about the cat in Majula, and they're like, maybe we should have like a cute little furry guy to be the next, advice giver or whatever. This article is for investors, not gamers. Yeah, that's true. I wasn't thinking of it on those terms. They're like, this seems like promising content. Bye. The cat was also in Dark Souls 1, but it was scary AF. The cat from Majula was in Dark Souls 1? What did it look like? Did I miss that? Oh, you mean the rolling cats in the forest. Was that the same thing, though? Those were super antagonistic and they were huge. Those things were huge. They were like a bear. It was a bear cat. There was one you can talk to? I didn't know that. That's crazy. I just saw them like, nope, okay, we're running out of here. When I say run, I mean, briskly walk in your armor. I suppose you could say we tried doing something a little Nintendo-esque in the spirit of partnership. That's cute. What do you mean by that? We tried something cute for a change. Although I will say this character is actually an elderly gentleman. Ha ha ha. That's the laughter in parentheses. Ha ha ha. More laughter. Is there anything else you'd like to say before we finish? In addition to creating a PvPvE title, we've tried our hand in introducing a lot of new and interesting ideas with the Duskbloods. From superhuman player actions, a freeform combat approach, and gameplay that's dynamic and dramatic, to the romanticized aesthetic of the Bloodsworn, deep character customization, and fragmentary storytelling, I think there's a lot to appreciate and enjoy in this title, and I sincerely hope players look forward to it. Thank you very much for your time. Very cool. Alright, that's that. So, what did we learn? A lot of shit. That's kind of a overload. I think I'm more hung up on, the whole double jumping and being able to shoot at the same time and all the other stuff. The multiplayer mechanics of, like the companion and the, what was it? The sworn enemy? Nemesis? What was it? It wasn't rival. Destined rival? I do notice they use kind of some of the same terminology or vocabulary like destined death in Elden Ring with the beast clergyman or Malekith, him saying destined death all the time, destined rivals. I'm hung up on the $600 to play one game. Yeah, well, that's the thing is you get Mario Kart with it. You spend $600 for the one game and you get Mario Kart as a bonus, and you probably will have a good time doing that. The question for me right now is, when do I sell the Switch? Because I want to hit it at a time where I'm not going to get peanuts for it because everyone's buying a Switch 2. This doesn't come out till 2026. But if it's backwards compatible, I have no reason to keep the normal Switch. I don't really care about my save files on most of those, I don't think. Best time to sell would have been 3 days ago? Exactly. I'm gonna get $50 for the Switch 1 now. That would be literally one console and 2 games for $700. Yeah, dude, I'm with you. It sucks. It fucking sucks. I'm in total agreement. I don't like getting fucked like that. Okay, if they're gonna fuck me like that, they at least better pull my hair a little bit, mash my face into the pillow a bit, insult me a little bit. Anyways, we've seen this trailer loop around a million times. Let's get into some Bloodborne. This is more of a momentous occasion, so I was just doing this. This is big news for the Bloodborne community. Even though it's not, it's not Bloodborne. I'm not trying to treat it like Bloodborne 2. It's more of a meme to say it's Bloodborne 2 at this point, at least for me.